string out as far as they can. Now it's come up. The team goes over the wall. He will come in this time. Now here's the thinking behind it. Not having to take on a full load of fuel. And Danny, you know, it depends on how you've got your car set up. If you want to run with a heavy load or a light load, lighter at the end, it ought to help. It ought to help him to be able to run a little bit better as he tries desperately to seek his first win, Danny.
Well, Jack, also, one thing, he'll have a quicker stop because that fuel's not as much in the tank right now. The gravity won't force it out as fast. He'll be able to make a quicker stop to get that light load of fuel.
And he'll be able to do a time stop because he won't have to wait for it to go up through the vent.
All right, so we wait for Greg Moore to make his stop, and when he does, this man, Adrian Fernandez, who has not won in the IndyCar, should take over. Well, you can see as you look at the front of that Ducati car that he's been in the fight all day. Look how dark the rear wing is and how much rubber is built up on the leading edge of the front wings. Here comes Greg Moore, and Jack Arute waits for him.
And it never ceases to amaze me how you will time the amount of fuel necessary for Greg Moore. It's a simple black clicker bill that a man on one side of the wall uses. He will tap the fuel man in the back when he thinks they've taken enough. They do. It's a quick stop. He puts it back in gear. 10.5 seconds and he's off and away.
And where does he rejoin? That's going to be the critical element. That's Fernandez. He's over on the backside with Zanardi over on him. And so Fernandez picks up the lead of the race. And Zanardi moves to second. Rahal to third. Moore should come out in fourth place. And Paul Tracy in fifth. And by the way, Jimmy Vasser has been involved in a good battle past couple of laps with Christian Fittipaldi while we were keeping close watch on Greg Moore, the leader of the race. And this was part of their battle just a few moments ago. Well, hello, Christian. I'm here.
Jimmy made a smart move there, though. He didn't force it. Christian chopped him, I thought, a little bit too much there, but Jimmy got away with it. He was thinking points right there. He didn't want to knock that front wheel off of the wing.
So Adrian Fernandez picks up the lead of the race, but there is a very hungry Alex Zanardi 2 seconds back. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
So Adrian Fernandez with the lead, some 16 laps remaining in Toronto, and it really is developing into quite a battle. Alex Zanardi, who went past Bobby Rahal before, in second place. Zanardi started on the front row, but he's now having to chase after Fernandez. Paul Tracy in fourth spot. Greg Moore, who just very recently pitted very late, but the lighter fuel load may really help him. And Jimmy Vasser and Christian Fittipaldi still engaging in that battle for what is 7th and 8th place at the moment. Brian Herta up into 6th place. News of Mark Blundell in 12th position. Michael Andretti trying to fight his way back through the field, but he's a lap down after flat spotting his tyres. Michael Andretti in 13th place. News of Alonso Jr. in 16th, but there's the Pennzoil car, and that's now coming in for its third stop. So Gilles de Ferran effectively out of any championship points. His problem on the very first lap came in without a nose. Perhaps development work that can be done. He'd be bitterly disappointed, having of recent times really closed the gap on Jimmy Vasser. 55 points to Gilles Ferran in the last 4 events that moved him into 3rd place in the championship battle. Zanardi going through there, still after Adrian Fernandez. We've now got some 14 laps remaining. Firestone car of Scott Pruitt. Sloven got that one out of the way. Sanbury Ribeiro, who earlier had a dreadful pit stop. He's had an even longer one now. The pole position man effectively out of the race. But this man hasn't won. And he's 14 laps from the checkered flag. Adrian Fernandez, the Mexican, being chased by Alex Zanardi. We looked at it earlier that Bobby Rahal could be the man to grasp his hands on the trophy. And he won that some years ago, back in '86, here in Toronto. And we can rejoin Paul and Danny again at trackside.
With Fernandez. Gary?
Paul, it could be good news for Alex Zanardi. We just talked with Steve Horn. He's the owner of the Tasman team. He's been pacing down here. He said, what are your concerns? He said, well, Adrian's a little concerned about his brakes. Now, Danny, you've been a driver. You correspond with team owners through races. What does a little bit of concern about brakes mean to you?
Well, that obviously means that he's radioed in and said, I've got some kind of a brake problem, which I would suspect is a hot brake pedal. You know, it's going down to the floor, and he's having to pump it a little bit. That's a big concern when you got somebody like Zanardi that close behind you.
Oh, Bobby Rahal is not real happy with the Farron. You see him point as he came up behind him. Rahal is in third place trying to catch Zanardi, and right now the Farron running off the pace back in 20th and 4 laps behind the leader is very definitely a problem for Rahal. But look at the Farron pull away there.
Yeah, but if he got him in one place, especially when Bobby's racing for a spot and a critical, it could end up being the lead or second place. You don't want to lose ground in traffic to somebody who's that far down, even if they're fast.
Well, Tracy is fourth behind Rahal, but not anywhere near him right now. Michael, problem, slows, raises his hand to tell everybody behind him that he is slowing, and the report originally was that the header may be gone. We'll listen to the radio.
I don't know if Michael just stopped there to let the traffic go by, but he looks like he's not moving at all.
I'll tell you what, with 84 laps complete, moving down in the final 10 laps of the race, I would be thinking about a full course yellow with Michael sitting there.
That spot is definite because it's going to be full course. I see the flags are going out right now.
So with a full course yellow, Michael in probably the most precarious possible position on the race course on the entry to turn 3 where all the passing occurs. They're going to go and snatch him off the course. That'll bunch up all of these guys, and then it will be a sprint to the finish.
So the full course yellow to try and get Michael Andretti's car into a place of safety. And some 10 laps remaining. Adrian Fernandez still with the lead then. Alex Zanardi all over him like a rash. Bobby Rahal not too far behind. Paul Tracy and Greg Moore, who might well get into the equation later on with that lighter fuel load from that very late pit stop. Jimmy Vasser, the championship leader, and he will still be the championship leader at the end of today. Although Al Unser Jr. is moving into the minor points very shortly. If he makes up one more place, he'll get just 1 point, but that certainly won't put him past Jimmy Vasser, even if Jimmy Vasser didn't finish, because Al Unser Jr. is in 13th, and Michael Andretti then out of it. And they'll get that car off the circuit as soon as they possibly can, but in the meantime, it's Linus Stern, the 2 yellows out, and Fernandez, of course, keeping his lead over this time. Gilles de Ferran 4 laps down. And it's still showing that Andre Ribeiro is in the race, but he's back in the lowly 18th place. And when Andretti came to retirement, it was 17th. So the 11th race in this Indy World Series have 9 laps to go. And don't forget that July the 28th, the Michigan 500 as unceremoniously on the end of a rope. Michael Andretti leaves the circuit of which he has been king. 4 times he's won here previously. Adrian Fernandez has not won yet. And we are going back now with the yellow flags clearing to Paul and Danny.
IndyCar safety team pulling Michael Andretti off of the course. No power on that car. He is out for the day. Now remember, let's take a look at these point standings. We were talking right at the beginning of this race about how they looked and how tight the battle was. Now let's take a look at the points right now. Well, Vassar still ends up as the leader in points. That's assuming if the race were to finish right at this second. It's not going to. But Alex Zanardi takes a jump into the top 6. Well, everything else up there remains pretty much the same, but by the same token, look how tight.
It bunches him up awful good, and the run that Zanardi's had, he could be a factor.
Now, they're playing very careful strategy in the Ganassi pits, aren't they, Jack?
Well, Chip Ganassi is the man on the radio with Alex Zanardi. He's waiting for Zanardi to come by.
Green.
Next lap we will be green is what they're saying. Now, Chip, you thought that there was a fuel problem with the leader car with Fernandez, and you were trying to chase him down. That all goes away now.
It does, Jack. I'd say we're a little off target right now where we want to be. We thought we'd be in the lead right now, but I think he won't have any problem passing Fernandez. We got plenty of laps.
That's a lot of bravado. What makes you think you can do that?
I got a great driver.
Gary?
Steve Horn down here on the radio to his driver, checking with his crew, talking to him. We're going to see if we can get a word with him. He watches them file by us here on the front straightaway. Steve, how concerned are you about this brake problem?
Well, he really hasn't said too much about it. At the beginning, he was, a little concerned about it, but, we told him to save him a little bit, and he seems to be doing okay now.
Does this yellow help you in that scenario?
I think it does. Any yellow helps, doesn't it? It gives us all a breather.
How nervous are you?
I'm not nervous. I think Adrian can...
And it's going to be unbelievable because look where Vassar's back there. He wants to score some more points. He's already been chopped once pretty hard by Christian. Bobby Rahal, by the way, has a couple of cars in the top 6 up there because Brian Hurt is right behind Greg Moore. And we need a good, clean start, but everybody's going to be going for it with 9 laps to go.
And the thing to watch for, of course, the key corner is that turn 3. And turn 1 has been a place that they have been able to get by. Certainly turn 1 is critical in setting up your run. So you can go down through 2, which is just a slight bend that's part of Lakeshore Drive. And then when you make the right-hander off Lakeshore, that's the key.
That's right. And I stand corrected. When they go by, there will then be 8 laps to go.
Right. I'll tell you what, this track always seems to produce interesting racing. It's done it once again.
And now, of course, they're going to come by with the green and 1. It'll be 7 laps when they actually take the green.
Now they're telling them to make sure they're in that lined up order. That's what that signal is from Vince Quintal, the chief starter of IndyCar. Jack Arute?
Danny Sullivan, I've got a question for you. Nobody will give me the answer down here in the Ganassi pit, but for the last couple of races on restarts, they always radio to Alex Zanardi, make sure you use the button on the restart. What button are they talking about? You're an old driver. Was there a trick there on the dash somewhere?
Well, Jack, of course, I've only been out of it about 9 months, but I didn't have any trick button. I do not know what they're talking about there.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll find out before we get to Michigan what's the story about this button.
Yeah,
if it
I
was
have
20 years ago, I'd be really worried about that button. I'd be leaning in there trying to find out exactly what that's doing.
20 years ago, that might have been nitrous oxide in there to give a little extra boost. But I don't know, because you just want to be in the right gear. Make sure everybody will have their fuel turned up now to 100%. The fuel mixture will be at 100%. This is going to be flat out everything you can do for 7 laps.
And I want to emphasize, we're not suggesting anything untoward with the Ganassi team.
Absolutely not.
Because Chip's a really big guy and probably can hit really hard. Adrian Fernandez, Zanardi, Bobby Rahal, they will go green as they come onto the pit straight once again. The crews, with some anticipation, look up to see how the cars are going to come off the corner. VPG pace car making the final